Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a mystery that is incredibly frustrating for millions of people. We're going to decode exactly why conventional calorie counting just fails. And we're doing it by shining a bright light on those hidden variables operating deep within our biology. Let's get right into it.
Have you ever hit that wall? You know the one. You're tracking every single morsel of food, you're sweating it out at the gym, you feel like you're doing absolutely everything perfectly, but the scale, it just refuses to budge. It is beyond frustrating. But listen to me here. It's not a lack of willpower. It's human biology. We're going to look at the very real, hardwired physiological reasons why your body suddenly just puts the brakes on weight loss. Here's our roadmap for the hidden saboteurs we're tackling today. We've got 1. The calorie tracking illusion. 2. Decoding starvation mode. 3. The power of NEAT. 4. How alcohol hijacks metabolism. And 5. Stress, sleep, and belly fat.
So, part 1. The calorie tracking illusion.
We've got to start by shattering a false sense of security that, well, a lot of us carry around right on our wrists. A meta-analysis from the University of Mississippi took a really close look at fitness trackers, and they found a massive average error rate of nearly 28% for energy expenditure on devices like the Apple Watch. Look, these trackers are fantastic for heart rate and step counts, absolutely, but they vastly overestimate how many calories you're actually burning during a workout. So if you're eating back those phantom calories that your watch promised you burned, essentially letting your device betray your diet, you are practically guaranteeing a weight loss plateau. You think you're in a calorie deficit, but in reality, you aren't even close. Moving on to part 2, decoding starvation mode. Okay, so if the tracker's wrong about our workouts, what happens when our body actually does sense a calorie deficit? You've probably heard the phrase starvation mode tossed around. Now, while true starvation is thankfully rare for most of us, the biological concept itself is very real. The actual scientific term is adaptive thermogenesis, and it is an incredibly effective evolutionary defense mechanism. When you cut calories to lose fat, your brain doesn't know you're trying to look good for the beach. It views this as the beginning of a famine. So to protect you, your body actively fights back. It literally hits the brakes on how many calories it burns to maintain energy balance.
The math behind this really illustrates why weight loss always seems to slow down. Studies show that for every single pound of body weight you lose, your resting metabolism drops by an average of 5.8 calories per day. So think about it. If you successfully lose 50 pounds, your body is suddenly burning nearly 300 fewer calories every single day just to exist. Your body literally becomes more efficient at doing work. And what that means is you have to eat fewer calories indefinitely just to maintain that new weight. Wild, right? When you break down our total daily energy expenditure, it's pretty eye-opening. A massive 60% chunk of that is your basal metabolic rate, the fixed energy required just to keep your heart beating and your lungs breathing. Another 10 to 15% is used up just digesting your food. That leaves us with the activity portion. Since that basal rate is mostly out of our hands, we have to focus all our attention on that remaining activity portion if we want to break through a plateau.
Which brings us to part 3, the power of NEAT. Let's talk about the absolute unsung hero of that activity portion we just talked about. NEAT. It stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Now, we tend to focus entirely on our intense 45-minute gym sessions, right? But NEAT encompasses literally everything else. It's the energy you burn changing posture, pacing around the room while you're on a phone call, doing household chores, or even just subconscious fidgeting. These invisible low-grade movements are happening all day long, and they burn a surprisingly massive amount of fuel.
The power hidden in simple posture changes is just incredible. Compared to lying down, simply sitting up increases your energy expenditure by 5 to 10%. Standing up boosts it by 10 to 20%, and walking increases your energy burn by 100 to 200% over your resting levels. The contrast there is just immense.
To really put this into perspective, researchers monitored lean and mildly obese individuals to track their daily movements, and they found that the obese individuals were seated on average 2 hours longer every single day. If those individuals simply adopted the NEAT-enhanced behaviors of their lean counterparts, literally just standing up and moving around a little bit more, they could burn up to 350 extra calories a day. Over a year, that is the equivalent of 18 kilograms, or about 40 pounds of energy expenditure, just from fidgeting and avoiding prolonged sitting. No way, right?
All right, part 4, how alcohol hijacks metabolism.
Now we have to pivot to what might just be the ultimate metabolic villain. Does alcohol actually stop fat burning? Resoundingly, yes. Think of your metabolism like a busy hospital emergency room. Normally, your body burns fats, carbs, and proteins in a pretty balanced way. But when alcohol enters the bloodstream, your liver treats the ethanol as an absolute life-or-death priority. It produces toxic byproducts like acetate that absolutely must be eliminated immediately. Because of this extreme metabolic urgency, your liver literally drops everything else it's doing. The breakdown of stored fat, a process called lipolysis, is completely 100% halted. And the shocking reality here is that just one drinking session can reduce your fat oxidation by 50%. And this massive metabolic disruption, it can last for up to 7 hours. The liver can only process about 1 drink per hour, but the suppression of your fat-burning pathways stretches on way after you stop feeling the buzz.
And it gets worse, because alcohol doesn't just hit the pause button on fat burning, it actively wrecks the cellular machinery. It drains your zinc stores and rapidly depletes NAD+, which is a crucial coenzyme your cells absolutely need for energy. And maybe worst of all, it triggers a massive hormone crash. Your plasma growth hormone levels, which are essential for fat metabolism and muscle repair, they plummet by 70 to 75%. It's essentially a state of total bioenergetic failure for your cells. Aside from that whole metabolic shutdown, let's not forget, alcoholic beverages are liquid calories. Every single gram of alcohol packs 7 calories. That's almost as dense as pure fat. But here's the kicker. It provides 0 fiber and 0 nutritional building blocks. Because liquids completely fail to trigger our body's natural physiological satiety mechanisms, you just don't feel full. Instead of filling you up, alcohol actually stimulates your appetite and completely disrupts your sleep. Which, by the way, is exactly why those late-night pizza cravings hit so incredibly hard the moment you get home.
Let's look at part 5. Stress, sleep, and belly fat.
Our final saboteurs. They don't come on a dinner plate or in a cocktail glass, but they can absolutely hijack your waistline anyway. A really fascinating study out of Yale University looked at women who are not otherwise overweight, but they had what we sometimes call a stress belly. What they found was that a psychological vulnerability to stress caused these women to secrete much higher levels of the stress hormone cortisol. And here is the real kicker. Cortisol actively forces fat to be stored centrally, right around your vital organs. This is visceral fat. It's the most dangerous kind, and it can accumulate precisely because of your body's reaction to everyday stressful tasks.
And what amplifies that cortisol spike more than anything else? Lack of sleep. Sleep deprivation totally disrupts your hormonal balance. It keeps your body locked in this stressed, fat-storing state, making it physiologically almost impossible to maintain any weight loss, no matter how perfectly dialed in your diet happens to be. So the absolutely crucial point here is that you do have the power to fight back against this metabolic adaptation. Here is your evidence-based checklist to reclaim control. First, lift weights to preserve your calorie-burning muscle mass. Second, eat a high-protein diet. Just digesting protein actually boosts your metabolism by 80 to 100 extra calories a day. Third, actively increase your daily NEAT. Stand up, walk around, pace, fidget, just move. Fourth, aggressively manage your stress and fiercely protect your sleep to keep that cortisol at bay. And finally, significantly limit your alcohol intake so you can keep those fat oxidation pathways wide open. We've uncovered the hidden saboteurs. Your biology is constantly adapting to your lifestyle, literally fighting you to maintain the status quo. But the power to break the plateau isn't found in blindly trusting a fitness tracker, and it's certainly not found in just eating less and less. It is found in understanding and outsmarting the system. So I'll leave you with this. If your metabolism is adapting to everything you do, what one small change will you make today to outsmart it? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.